Craig.
Craig, hi, it's Nick Goddard. How are you?
Yeah.
Are you in a car? The audio quality is perfect.
Well, I'm in a car, but I'm glad the audio quality is perfect because I got crappy ears. But talk to me.
Yeah, so thanks for being available. I'm writing an article for Popular Mechanics about winter motorcycling, and I'm thinking about tips and gear. And I know this whole idea got you started on hippo hands. I remember you telling me about the sleeping bag in the cold weather, and just thought you'd be a good person to talk to about cold weather riding. Although I know you do live in California.
Well, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Berlin in Germany.
Is this a $30 phone call?
No, it's on Google Voice, and so it's voice over IP, and it's free.
Wow, we were talking to a friend in England a couple of weeks ago, and it was a $30 phone call. I can't believe we didn't do it right. Okay, talk to me.
I did that actually recently, calling the IRS. I had the slowest lady on the phone, and she yammered well, not even yammer. She just drawled slowly for an hour.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hung up, I got a text from my phone provider saying, that phone call just cost over 100 euros. Your services are all now cut off. Please call us as soon as possible.
So why are you in Germany?
I lived in France, and then I have a friend who's working on a new future institute to educate business leaders and politicians about like the latest technology, exponential technology, and how they can make ethical decisions regarding its use. And so I came here, and I'm working with a bunch of people on that, and it's great.
Okay, so did you actually ever publish anything that talked about making hippo hands out of sleeping bags?
Ooh, literally that? Well, I published a picture on Hell for Leather a long time ago about that story. That exact idea, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, if you ever, email me something so I can see what you did about us. But go ahead, let's talk about now.
Yeah, so I lived in New York, and I wound up with heated grips and a heated jacket liner, and that actually was pretty good. It's active rather than passive heating, but I was more or less happy with it. And then like a neck scarf, and I guess something like an anti-fog helmet visor.
Yeah.
Like these are the things, like once you have some wind protection, some heat, and I guess that the last one's anti-fog. I wear glasses, and so even if the helmet doesn't fog up, my glasses will fog up, which is irritating.
Yeah. Okay.
But besides that kind of stuff, like I guess the sleeping bag is a good one because it shows that you have to improvise. Like use what you have to stay warm. And so that's a good lesson.
Well, as you talk and ask questions, I'll have a better idea of how to answer them. But yeah, it was. So what did you want to talk about today? I'll try to make it understandable to you, something you like.
Well, I'm curious, like if you have cold weather riding tips, basically. Either favorite gear or favorite motorcycle attributes, or other than just a car. A car is the obvious one. But it could be from tires to bike setup to choice of bike and choice of gear. But just, I guess, anything off the top of your head that seems like something that comes to mind when you think about riding in cold weather.
Okay, well, first of all, you have to understand, I moved away from Illinois to California to get out of the real cold weather, to get out of the icy roads, sometimes icy, sometimes not, sometimes wet. But the biggest reason to go to California was because it never got that hot, never got that cold, and also had a lot of sun. And as far as I'm concerned, the future is sun-powered. It's not gas-powered, it's not wood-powered, it's not anything, it's sun-powered. And so... But when you go back to, so my solution to cold weather is to move away from it. Number one, and that's and that's what I've done. On the other hand, At 1973, 4, somewhere in there. I decided I wanted a sidecar, and it sounded like you want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I guess a sidecar is good when it gets really cold, right? Because it lets you stay upright. I saw the picture of that beautiful sidecar you had, I guess the prototype that you had rigged up.
You talking about the wooden one or the plastic one?
Well, there's the black one with a white. It looks like a trailer wheel, and then I don't know if it's on a BMW on the side of a mountain.
Yeah, that was the final Terraplane sidecar. Final one, the last one I did. The first one though was that wooden one, which is right above it.
Yep.
And the wooden one above was to find out what a sidecar was like, what it was going to do, how was it going to put it on, where was it going to be weak, where was it going to be strong, what shape did it have to allow you to get in, get out, stay dry, stay not wet in the rain, and to make, and to deal with a crash. Somebody crashed into you. So it's all the things were in the first sidecar called the Terraplane. So it was a Terraplane prototype. And finally, it ended up as that black one with, you saw one with the white wheels on it, and that was the final Terraplane sidecar. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. One of the nicest things I ever made.
Yeah, it looks great. And I'll take a guess, but it's called a Terraplane because it's like you're flying along the ground?
No, it's called Terraplane because when I was a real little kid, I found out that some Hudsons in the 1930s were called Hudson Terraplanes. And I always was charmed by the name. And when it came time to name my sidecar, I looked it up in the U.S. registry and found out it was no longer owned by anybody. So I grabbed it. I like it. It's a great... Names are important for any kind of thing you do, and it was good for the sidecar.
How many of those did you make?
6. And one is in the Hall of Fame Museum now in Columbus, Ohio. There are probably 5 in various hands in Illinois because we never really sold them. They were kind of borrowed by people that worked on them really, really hard, and I decided to abandon it, not sell it, and so gave a bunch of them away.
And did they fit various bikes?
Yep, there's not a bike that it would not fit, and because it's American, it fit on the right side. In England, they'd put them on the left side.
Can you? Does the Terraplane work on either side?
No, only works on the right side.
I was talking to some Russians the other day, and they said that in Russia, a sidecar is called a stroller. It's like the Russian word for stroller.
Yeah.
And so,
sorry,
go ahead.
I thought you were going to ask me why I stopped making it.
Well, I was still. I'm fascinated by this. If it's at least partially to get around in very cold weather, and I've never been in a sidecar. I'm curious what the riding experience is like. And then I know in your email you said no one else really was into the idea of a sidecar, and so I'm curious about the riding experience, and in cold weather, and the reaction you got from the public toward it.
People do not understand very much about sidecars. I knew nothing about sidecars when I made that first one and made it out of wood in a steel frame, and took a look at how to really do good engineering, good design on it. I knew nothing about a sidecar. I had never driven with one. I never even talked to anybody that had one. So I learned it all myself. And what I learned, the good stuff I incorporated, and the bad stuff I stayed away from, was, it's wonderful in the snow. It's wonderful on ice. This is just absolutely terrific. It allows you to take your motorcycle and ride on ice, ride on snow. and that's all I had when I was in Illinois was a motorcycle, and I wouldn't dare drive a motorcycle when I couldn't tell if the road was icy or unicy. You can't tell. There are times when the road goes black to ice, black to no ice. Cannot ride a motorcycle on that. Cannot do it. And but yet, when you put a sidecar on it, you can. Never fall over it with a sidecar. I discovered that. Do we have a good voice? You hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I discovered that in our little town of Rantoul, Illinois, that you could pick a back road where houses on both sides and cars were parked on both sides, but no other traffic. And I could actually go down the center of the road and gas it. Since the gas is on the left, that would do a big from the top looking down circular clock direction circular loop in the road with cars parked on either side of us. Or you could go down the road, instead of gassing it, hit the brakes. The brakes are all on the left side, and it would do a big loop. Are you there?
Yeah, I am.
I'm here. Okay, you would do a big loop from the top down, counterclockwise, and I could do that all day long. Go clockwise or counterclockwise.
But while you're moving, like
while I'm moving, going ahead 30 miles an hour.
And so you spiral down the street.
Yeah, if you want to. It was that stable, incredible, that stable. It was on ice and on snow. It's the most wonderful thing a person could drive. The safest thing a person could drive. Absolutely wonderful. As long as the road was all ice or all snow, it was absolutely the safest thing. You cannot drive a car like that. You can't drive a motorcycle like that. You can only drive a motorcycle with a sidecar like that.
Wow, how curious. I hadn't thought about like very low traction dynamics. I mean, obviously it's better in snow or, like you say, occasional black ice than a motorcycle, but in a complete low adhesion environment or low friction environment, it's funny to think about the dynamics and what's possible.
Well, see, if you're on no ice, no water and no ice, it acts very, very different. Very different. When you hit the brakes, when it's dry, let's say you're making a real fast right. The sidecar's on the right side, okay? Going on the road at 60 miles an hour normally, and the road goes to the right, and you turn to the right. Well, it's a very good chance that if you're, if all things are set up wrong, and they always are when it's dry, you go to the right, sidecar's on the right, and the right side will lift up, and the bike will want to go left, and it'll want to lift up and go left. You go into traffic. You go right into oncoming cars. And I had to learn that. And if you want to you go straight and you have to stop, it'll also go off to the left when you want. If you want to, so what I'm saying is that when you're on dry ground, dry pavement, the thing, and you have an emergency, you have to accelerate or you have to slow down, or there's a rock ahead of you, or there's a crashed car ahead of you,
okay,
and you're going fast. When you hit the brakes, it's going to go to the left, or if you have to accelerate, it's going to go to the right. And when you're on ice, it doesn't do that. It's absolutely safe. You can let up on the gas and it'll go straight. But on pavement, it isn't that way. On pavement, it can be very, very dangerous. And it wasn't until we were in production with that thing, and that my wife, she's my wife now, she's my girlfriend. Then she drove around with the wooden one on her Honda 500, and what actually happened was she went to the engineering department and said, this thing is going to the right or going to the left, and just a small adjustment in those days. And what she did was, would you take it for a ride and adjust it? Okay, we'll do that. Well, they went out in Illinois. The engineer went out in Illinois, and I think the picture of that is on my webpage. I'm not sure. Or anyway, and he got on the wrong side of a road. He got. Let's see. There was a curved back road, and he got on the left side of the road, and it was angled down, and it just kept going right into the ditch. He could not get out of it. And sidecars can be that way when the road is crooked and the road is dry. So everybody at my factory, one time or another, crashed one of the factory sidecars, except me. I never did. But I knew what to do and what not to do, and I can tell you right now, the only thing you can do is take it off when the roads are dry. You just take it off and not drive it. But what's that going to do if you drive from here to Chicago, you drive out here to L.A., and it's icy all the way, and they got to take the sidecar off, and then you got to drive the next 200 miles on a sidecar, and you got to put it back on. You don't have it. It's a window, please. So to me, it was an impossible situation. I had developed the most wonderful sidecar anybody has ever made. It was good. It just had so many features. It was adjustable. You could actually drive, whether you're going down the road straight ahead to the left or go to the right, by reaching back and pushing a little button that would move the top of this sidecar out or in, which would make you go right or left. This was a great sidecar. But since everybody that I loaned it to crashed, I realized that, and they knew this. They knew these things. I realized that I would not dare offer this wonderful sidecar to other people who are like motorcycles, because they would never, ever use it correctly, and probably never, ever be able to use it correctly. Like the situation of going from here to Los Angeles. Got to take it off, got to put it on, then what?
And so so you don't like to ride it in dry conditions?
I absolutely think it's dangerous. I would never drive it in dry. Never. But you see, in the springtime, in the winter, in the spring and fall, you might wake up one morning, the roads are icy. Oh boy! Or you make up. You think they're dry. Okay. Anyway, you can't put the thing on and take it off a mile away from home. Can't do it. And so it's only good when the roads are icy all the way. It's not good when they're partially icy. It isn't all that good if the roads are absolutely dry. Unless you understand about curves and about ice and water, you have no business with a sidecar. And I'm so good at riding. I got third place at Daytona road racing. I've done all the off-road racing there is. But I realized that as good as I am, a sidecar is probably too dangerous to be used, really.
Is it like that with all sidecars? I thought they were reasonable.
They were what?
I just thought they were usable. I know they're not very popular, but I thought it was because of complexity and expense, not because of poor dry performance.
All sidecars act like my sidecar did. Probably none of them were as good as my sidecar, because I was going out with 85 horsepower motorcycles and going really, really fast. And when sidecars were popular in the 20s and the 30s, they were, 15, 18 horsepower motorcycles, and they were going 35 or 40. And most of them, there were no roads, it was gravel. You could pretty much predict what was going to happen. Sidecars were okay. After World War II in England, you probably know that sidecars were they were allowed to be driven and licensed as if they were standard motorcycles. And there were not a lot of new cars in England or Germany right after World War II, and you could license them for basically nothing, and that's why the sidecar company sort of stayed in business. But I'm a designer that works on what I think is truth. I don't make anything up. And what I've learned about sidecars, the things that I just told you, are truth. And with all that, reliability and truth that I had, I realized that I put 2 years of my best work in developing this wonderful sidecar, and yet it was not basically usable, because you had to put it on, take it off, maybe in the same trip into town. And I was so sorry to quit it. I gave one to a museum and gave the rest of them away to friends.
Oh, it's a shame because it looks so compelling.
Oh, it was. It was wonderful. I have all kinds of pictures of interesting. One of them was can old ladies get into it easy? And I got smiley old ladies, walking over, stepping up, and lifting and dropping in, and they loved it. So there's a whole lot of wonderful stories about it. But in the end, I was developing something that was not practically used, and I never knew it for 2 years.
And then I'm trying to think too about the wind jammer. Was that for, like, what was the original the original need that caused you to develop or inspired you to develop the wind jammer?
Yeah, it was 1966 or so. I was driving from Illinois, where my home was. I was just out of school, to Aspen, Colorado, and I was in Kansas on an early freeway, 70, I think, and was going west. And I was laying on the tank and had my head sideways, and the only way I could see the world was to kind of look straight ahead, which is looking off to the left, looking at fields. That was okay. I didn't think anything about that. And then a big truck passed me. I was only going 65 or so, and a big truck passed me, speeding, and he passed me. He got right in front of me, and all of a sudden, I didn't have to lay down. All of a sudden, I stood up. All of a sudden, it was colorful in Kansas, and I thought, whoa, I didn't know it was like this. And then the truck passed me, kept going, and I got back down on the tank, and because the wind was blowing me. So it started out with the truck passing me and learning the effects of wind. And so I came home and realized that my first love, you see, is airplanes. And I realized that what I really wanted to do was airplane my motorcycle, build kind of a fairing. It's an airplane word on the front of it. And I wanted it to attach to the frame. I didn't want it to turn with the handlebars. I wanted it to be like an airplane part. I wanted it to be a moving thing in front. I wanted it to be like fixed to the fuselage, fixed to the frame. And so I did. And at the end of '66, I made one and put it on my Yamaha 305, and it was terrific. And I made a whole bunch, all the way ending up with the Honda 750, the 4-cylinder Honda 750. That led to the Windjammer. And the Windjammer basically was designed to handle and deal with every potential problem that I had learned doing these first five kind of fairings. And, I made hundreds of each of those 5 fairings, but they were a marketing nightmare, because there were 5 different fairings, and I had to make 5 different fairings to fit say 10 different brands of motorcycles. It was hard for me. It was hard for a dealer. And so the Windjammer, I just took every problem that I knew with the first fairings, the first 3 years of fairings, and everything I wanted that I did not have, and built it into the Windjammer, everything. And by the time I sold the business in 78, 79, over 500,000 of those things, we had made over 500,000 Windjammers. It was the right thing to make. It was only one kind. The right thing to make, the right thing to sell. All it was different was colors and accessories you might have put on there. It's a lot like cars today, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, if you bought a like we're sitting in electric Tesla car right now. Okay, do you have those there?
Yes.
Okay, get an electric, basic car, basic Chevrolet, basic anything, and you can, buy those things all day from dealers. Let's say for $5,000, whatever. Okay, or you can start saying, hey, I kind of like to have electric this. Oh, I can have heated this. Oh, I can have the sound. Oh, so all it is the same vehicle with all these accessories on it, right?
Yeah.
What a Windjammer turned out to be.
Was an accessory for the motorcycle, or the Windjammer had various accessories?
Both. The time came when the Muslims cut off petroleum into America in 74. You remember that? How old are you?
35.
Okay, you don't remember that then.
I mean, I'm aware of it, but I didn't live through it.
Yeah. Muslims stopped sending oil. So our government said, okay, we're not going to. If you have a car, you can only buy gasoline for your car on odd and even days, depending upon your license plate. Oh, okay. And you can only buy 8 gallons at a time. Oh, okay. Oh, we're going to send the speed limit down to 55. Oh, okay. And they did that until 1995, I think. It went for a long time. But motorcycles were eliminated from that. Oh, if you got a motorcycle, it doesn't have to do it. You can buy gas anytime. You can fill it up anytime you want. And, it was still stuck at 55 miles an hour. When that happened in 1994 or so, what happened was husbands who were married talked to their wives, who didn't really like motorcycles anyway, and said, dear, I think we should get a motorcycle. Why? Because they are outside the law. I can buy gas all day, and if I put a Windjammer on it, I can go to work and be looking good when I get there. You have the big combination right there.
Wow, yeah, okay. And then, gosh, I haven't ridden one with one of those. I rode a huge Victory cross country that had a big fairing on it, and then I had a old Honda CB550 that was unfaired, but I've always wanted to ride with a Windjammer. I see them on Craigslist on, like you say, Honda CB750s once in a while, and it seems like a great formula.
Well, it was anybody makes $500,000, $300,000 things, can be very successful, and I did.
And then, what was I gonna say? So the Windjammer was about comfort. I know before when we talked, you would say like living better with less. But the Windjammer, which I guess it's funny because during the fuel crisis you get more. It's like living better with more. But the Windjammer was inspired by like comfort and air management, and Hippo Hands were inspired by cold weather.
Well, yeah, these are all things. But you see, something that I don't know if you understand or not. The overall goal in my life, and I'm 75, and we're talking about things I did before I was 35. But it's the overall goal of my life is to try to do more with less. Do more with less. There's never a time ever when you think, or when I think, when you're always going to be better to do more with more, because we're going to run out. If you want to do more with more, you might look good today, but what's it going to look like 100 years from now? Oh, what? They'll be inventing what? I don't think so. The ultimate power to make anything comes from the sun. Ultimate. That's it. And so today, I spend all my time in fuel economy contests, putting them on, and the winners are turning out to be the people who go 80 miles an hour all day long for the least amount of money. And it turns out that gasoline is possible to do 150 miles to the gallon going 75 miles an hour. You can do that very easily with electricity, and you get it for nothing from the sun. It's the future. So either one, the electric bikes or electric anythings that get their power from the sun are doing more with less. They all are. It is the future. You can never live better by using more power. You can't do it. You're just running things out, and after maybe your grandchildren or their great-grandchildren are going to say, well, where did Grandpa get the power? Well, he got it from gasoline in the ground or from coal. He got it from trees. But we can't get it anymore. That's right. Well, how am I going to live like he did? Well, the ones that are living today did well learned how to live better on less energy. They learned how to live better on less materials, less effort.
I like it. I think it's a good maxim, a good outlook. And so now the fuel economy challenge is based on price rather than fuel consumption?
I have a contest. I have 2 or 3 contests every year, and I've had them basically since 1980. Because I sold my business in 79, I think it was. 8 or 9, I think it was 9. Anyway, I told you that my goal in life has always been to do more with less energy, do more with less. Basically, do more with less, and that's what I've been doing since then. So, I put on a contest to see who can go from here to there, and we went from the salt flats, Monteville salt flats, to what's the next town or big town ahead of Utah, Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City,
and but a couple hundred miles. And we went at 80 miles an hour because that was the speed limit. This was 3 years ago. And the winner of that contest, there's like 6 bikes, all, one behind the other. The winner of that contest, was the winner that went from here to there with the least amount of energy, least amount of money. Well, that's when gas was more like $4 a gallon, and electricity was, 20 cents a kilowatt or something like that. It was clear that electricity, when you're buying it, went from Bonneville to Utah, Salt Lake City, better, cheaper, quieter than gasoline. And so that kind of lesson, you see, is the kind of thing that when I die, I want you to say, oh, boy, you know what Vetter did? That's really stuff. And we can live like that in the future. And right now I'm in Carmel, California, and I'm just about 30 miles south of Zero motorcycles. They're all made up there, Zero Electric.
Yeah, are they in Santa Cruz?
Yeah, Santa Cruz. They're the next little town up towards San Francisco. I can't think of the name of the town, but they were in Santa Cruz. But they're still 40 miles north of me here. And they are clearly the head of electric motorcycles right now. And so that we are returning right now from a town south of here, talking about the next fuel economy contest we're going to have in September, and spending a lot of time about how are we going to incorporate seriously electric motorcycles competing against gas or diesel motorcycles, because that's the way it's been for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's time to change the rules a little bit and to encourage winners. And if you want to win, you have a solar powered vehicle powered by the sun.
Yeah, I remember the first time. Sorry, go ahead.
That's true of life.
And I remember the first time I rode a Zero. I had ridden it around for a little bit, and then a guy pulled up next to me at a stoplight on a Yamaha FZ1 or something, and I looked over at him and I thought, that thing is running on gas, it's lighting on fire, it has 12 valves, it's inhaling air, spitting smoke out the back, and it also has a battery and an electric motor. And I was sitting there at the stoplight in stasis, and I just thought, how can that possibly win? Electric eventually must win.
You're right. And Tesla and Zero are right. The interesting thing is that it's just relatively simple to turn the sunlight into electricity. It's easy. Just put a cell up there, and it turns it into electricity. And then you can take that electricity and just run it into your Zero battery, or run it into your Tesla battery. It's free.
That's cool. I mean, do you do that at your house?
Yep.
And are you able to generate enough electricity to offset your car and motorcycle usage?
Oh yeah, we are. At the moment, we are only pumping all the water that five houses on my property, I have rental houses, and that pump all that water and heat it. We're using the sun to pump all the water and to heat it, so you can take showers and baths. The next step is to put up more panels and power our motorcycle and power our car.
Cool.
See, this is why I moved from Illinois to a place where there was sun, where it didn't get too hot and didn't get too cold. That was 30 years ago, 35 years ago. I could see this coming.
And then because if it's too hot or too cold, that presents their own problems. And so if you can find a place that has generally livable conditions, then you just have to, like you say, warm up the water to take a shower and then maybe power a car, but you're not heating and cooling your whole life.
Well, you start out talking about icy roads.
Yeah.
We start talking about, having three wheels down, sidecar down, when it's good and when it's not. And the overall, that plus the fact that in 74, all about the same time, the Muslims decided they were going to make fuel real expensive so they could make money. Well, those are two things that changed my life. It's probably not good to be doing what I'm doing here. It's probably good to be figuring out how to do it without gasoline and do more with less. Period. And so I had to get rid of the sidecar. Ultimately sold the Windjammer thing, but now I spend my time streamlining motorcycles and moving away from gasoline to electric power and powering that electric vehicle with the sun. That's what I'm doing, and that's why it's not made up. It's just all learning.
Yeah. It's cool. And so what proportion of the contestants or the entrants in your fuel economy challenge, what proportion have electric drivetrains?
I have to tell you, the whole thing is very small. It's growing every year. I would say that a third are now electric. A third were electric last year, probably, maybe a little bit more than a third this year. And ultimately, it'll be everyone because it's free. Why would you want to give, anybody money for pumping oil out of the ground, turning it into gasoline and whatever they do, paint and whatever, why would you want to do that when you can get it free from the sun? And it makes motorcycles that are quiet, you already pointed that out, real quiet, real clean, very powerful. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, totally. I agree. The only thing for me that's preventing me from having electric stuff is initial purchase price, but I think it's a much more elegant solution. If I,
I'm sure cars had the same kind of beginning. Look, they cost so much. Where am I going to get gasoline? They all start the same way.
Yeah. But even and in Europe too, gas is so expensive that if you can get over the initial outlay, suddenly the marginal cost of using your car, if it's electric, drops almost to zero. Whereas the marginal cost of using your car, if it's gas, is still, it's onerous.
Oh yeah, and it's basically zero if you get that energy from the sun. And God made it for you; He made it for me. It is free.
I like it. So, what electric motorcycle are you riding?
Zero.
Okay. That's cool.
And the winners of the last fuel economy contest were Streamlined Zero motorcycles.
Okay. I have to check out the pictures. I haven't. I saw probably 2 or 3 years ago pictures from your fuel economy contest, but I'll check out the latest entrance.
Well, what I'd like you to do is this. Number one, I'd like you to send me, a copy of whatever magazine your existing, your printing ability has got my stuff into, and you said something. And the other is the smart thing to do if you want to write about what I'm saying is think about what I said, look about it, and say, oh, crap, I need a picture of this, or I'd like to have a picture of that, or I wonder if he can give me some more specific information about. I can do all that. Are you taping this?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. I know I didn't ask you at the beginning, but is that okay? I did, but I hadn't asked you,
yeah.
And so I wanted to confirm.
It's okay. I was going to say it keeps you away from I have to figure out what I said and remembering it wrong, and. There's always a possibility I can say something that's not true either. You have to understand that 2 years and 10 months ago, a deer hit me on my Streamlined scooter. I gotta close the door. Just a second. My son will come out, and I open up the door in my electric car. I don't know how to stop it. It'll stop. Ah, boy. Somebody's going to come around and fix it. Oh, I just pushed on it. Okay. Where were we? We were saying something.
You were saying that, yeah, to write, to have a look at pictures. I'm trying to think.
Oh, yeah. So what you should do is.
Oh no! You said 2 years ago you got hit on your Streamliner by a deer.
Oh yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, a deer hit me from the side, and they took me away, and I have no memory of this. Deer, I was going 25, 30 miles an hour. A deer came out, hit me from the side, and almost killed me. And the doctors they took me to said, I don't know if he'll live or not. Other doctors said, yeah, well, he might, but he's not going to sound the same.
Wow.
If he does, he's not going to remember. Anyway, this is 2 years ago, and for a year and a half, we couldn't talk. We couldn't do it. I don't even remember the first year, but now 2 years and 10 months have gone by, and I'm pretty much normal. Yeah, pretty much normal. And I've probably got another year or so. And then they'll let me drive again. And right now they won't let me fly. If you said, Craig, can you come to Germany and give a talk here? I would say no. The doctors won't let me do that. But my career before the deer hit me was mostly putting on fuel economy contests and then lecturing to college students. They're the best. They're more fun than automobile makers that the college students are, because they're the people who are most likely to be able to change and move into a world that I think is going to exist. So, it was a terrible accident I had, almost killed me, but I'm coming back from it. But you and I can talk, and I can grab pictures that you need. For 40 years, I figured the end of my life would be a book. And I would be able to write about these things and take pictures. And so I got 10,000 35 millimeter slides of everything that I have done. And then 121 notebooks starting in 1965. So I'll put our conversation in. You send me something on the internet, I'll script with your name and book number 121, and when I get home anyway. Anyway, I'm a record keeper, and I have a great many plans, and I follow them. But the overall goal of my life is to live better with less, and today it is using the energy from the sun to live better with less.
Have you started work on the book? Besides having 10,000 slides and 100 notebooks?
Yeah, well, I knew I wasn't going to use all those because, they're just all over the place. But yeah, I've started working on it, but I've lost a year and a half because it hit me 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm glad you're. I know it's been a long road to recovery, but I'm glad you're still here. And I didn't know this. I didn't know that you were in a wreck, but
yeah,
I'm glad that it's turning out okay.
Bad. If my wife on what was it? One of the Caring Bridge. Anyway, if you send me our email, current one, I will put you onto this thing that she started 2 years and 10 months ago, where nobody knew that anything, knew if I'd be living or not. But I'd be happy to get you current if you get me current with you and everything, and I'll get you current with what you think that you need to know. Okay.
Sure.
So right now you're just being overwhelmed, and I'm sorry about that. And you give us some thought. And if you are specific, then I can go in and get specific answers and specific photographs to indicate answers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I will think about this a little bit. I haven't, I could throw together an article about riding in the cold easily, but it seems more interesting to have quotes from industry experts and to think like a little bit about, for instance, sidecars, right? It's something I don't normally associate with cold weather, but that's a great example. Hippo hands, sidecars, and windjammer gets you going pretty far in cold weather.
Yeah, well, the easiest way to do that is to move away from the cold. But we didn't really go that far into discussing other things to do in the cold. So we can do that another time. My wife is trying to call me on the other line, and so what I'd like you to do. What's that? What I'd like you to do. Was that me? I don't think it's me. Anyway, think about. Well, that's really awful. Tesla. That's the first downside I've seen to having a Tesla car. The horn goes off, and I don't know how to stop it. Are you there?
Sometimes you just have to try. You have to turn it on. I remember I had a car with that's how you can tell the car that you have the key. And so if you just try to turn it on, it relaxes.
The key went out with my son, who went inside. I don't know what for. Anyway, so what I propose that you do is think about this conversation, decide what might be worth following up, besides the questions that you didn't answer, and think about it. Make notes to yourself. Either contact me on the internet and or talk to me on the phone. But it's a lot cheaper on the internet, and I have a little bit more time I can get a picture for you, or I can get some exact dates and exact people who are in the middle of this with me. But there aren't that many, because almost nobody believes what I believe. Almost nobody believes what I believed 40 years ago. And you might not you might not even believe it. I don't know.
I've come to the same conclusions. I mean, I moved house on a motorcycle, and I when I moved to Berlin, I balanced my bags on a bicycle and rode to the bus station to the airport. And so basically, I moved from France to Berlin on a bicycle, and then I have like 2 sweaters, 2 pairs of shoes. I'm totally. Yeah, I see what we need and what we don't need. Oh.
Well, yeah.
I like the idea of the sun too. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not a big fan of bicycles, and one of the biggest problems is that you can only put out about a half a horsepower if you're really, really good for any length of time, but you've got to have the same surrounding around you that I have with my 25 horsepower streamlining. Whether you've got a bicycle inside or you've got mine, and unless you've got a lot of mass in there that absorbs winds, they're going to crash.
If you have a streamliner bicycle?
You streamline, yeah. The streamlining that will do a proper job with you on a bicycle is the same size as it will do a job on my motorcycle. Same size, and the wind is likely to move you around the same, and you have to have the mass in the correct place. I'm not even sure you can do it on a bicycle because the only mass you really have is your weight, the bicycle, which is nothing, and the fairing itself, which can be about nothing. So, and with the same wind, which is not nothing. So,
Yeah.
To truly streamline a bicycle, probably is beyond even logical thinking. And I've done this for a long time, and I just don't see any future in really streamlining a bicycle. And the interesting thing about streamlining is only one shape. Whether it's on a bicycle or a car or an airplane or a truck, streamlining is only one shape. And when you want to streamline a body like yours, to streamline your body, it's going to be the same shape that's on my motorcycle. And basically the same shape, the same length. A lot of things are going to be the same. One of the few things that will be different is the overall length, because the slower you can go, the shorter it can be. But the faster you go, the longer it has to be. Look how long airplanes are. Look at commercial airlines. Look how long they are. They're streamlined. Look at my motorcycles. They're streamlined. How long are they? Yeah, 14 feet. Well, how long's a real streamlined bicycle? Well, it probably ought to be. Yeah, I'm good for going 100 miles an hour. Bicycles are probably good for going 45 or 50. Streamlined, they can probably do it for 7 or 8 feet. Would you want to have a 7 or 8 foot long bicycle? Would you be able to handle the wind from the side of an 8 foot long bicycle, 4.5 feet high, maybe 2 feet wide? Could you do that with just your bicycle? Probably not. But you can do it with a motorcycle, because, especially an electric motorcycle, because the mass can be put on the bike in the right place where the wind just doesn't move you around. I've learned all these things. I didn't know them 10 years ago.
That's interesting what you're saying about the size of the fairing and the mass. However, I wonder if bicycles and motorcycles do different things, and a bicycle is happy to go slowly around a dense city rather than crossing a desert, where streamlining obviously would be great on a bicycle, and then the lack of weight is an impediment. But I think, like in Amsterdam, people derive great utility from bicycle usage, and they have the most rudimentary single speed coaster brake bikes, and even so those are the best tool for the job. It's but the city is good at accepting bicycles, and I think Californian cities are worse, or American cities in general.
Are more what?
Well, are less dense and have mostly density and also less bicycle infrastructure.
Yeah, well, streamlining does two things. It's like a windjammer. It keeps you dry and keep you not cold in the cold. Can do that. Okay, keep you dry and keep you not cold. That's just the front part. The most streamlining. If I said, okay, look, you can streamline your bike. But I'm only going to let you streamline the front or the rear, and do them correctly. But you can only do one or the other. Can't do both. Which one would you pick?
Well, my first response would be to have the front, but I wonder if then you just wind up with a turbulent, not even boundary layer, but just turbulence and high and low pressure and high drag if you don't have a tail cone.
Well, I'm going to leave you hanging with this one, because I can tell you exactly what's true and what's not true, and tell you that most people answer the way you just did. Well, I can tell you for sure which one does and which one doesn't. So we'll leave it at that for right now. But bicycles, you know, I'm not a bicyclist. I'm not going to be one. If I were, it would be one that really used it to do nothing. You know, just putt around, go faster than I can walk. You know, maybe a little better than a wheelchair, and I've designed wheelchairs too. You know, there's a whole lot to be talked about in streamlining, and we'll get to that. So what I'd like you to do really is go off, think about this conversation, think about what you heard, what you did not hear, what you'd like to hear. Send me emails, tell me what you need, and go back and send me a copy of this thing you already did that you know included the hippo hands or something or whatever you did.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk to you again.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's great to talk to you too. And between us, I hope that we can leave the world a better place. That means people who are living better on less energy, better on less 2x4s, better on less everything. Live better on less. And that's the goal of my life. And it will be the goal of my life until I drop for the last second. And it's probably one of the most important things that you and I can do.
Okay, great. Well, I'll help you with that in one more article about it at least. But you know, like I always think, especially when I'm in the U.S., but also shockingly, no matter where I am in the world, if you look around at the way people live and what they buy and how they transport themselves, you would never think there's any type of environmental or energy crisis whatsoever. I find that shocking. And if you think about, you know, sustainability, environmentalism, minimalism, it seems like that is just an idea and a concept, and it's not even close to being a reality. And I can never believe what we have managed to create and build, and the number of mass-produced things. And the only thing I can think of is that maybe some sort of smart sharing economy will save us. But people love to buy things, and it just beyond all my expectations.
I think that the thing that's going to save us is to live better on less energy, to live better on less, live better on. It's real simple. And I don't know. It's time for me to leave. But think about what we talked about, and let's get going with emails, okay?
Okay, sounds great. Take care, Craig.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.